as today is Monday and we've got a new segment which is about keeping yourself healthy, which of course we talked about earlier is a great way to bust the Monday blues. Now, earlier in the show we spoke about tips on working out. Now I spoke to a specialist on a gallstone and how to, the symptoms and how to cure it. And today I'll be talking to a wonderful guest who came all the way here to Malaysia to talk about the spiritual sciences behind health. You know, we all know and we're all familiar with the whole concept that in order to keep yourself healthy physically, you actually have to be healthy mentally too. So we'll talk about how we can achieve that. So please join me in welcoming Miss Rashmi Aiyappa, who is a spiritual scientist. She is the founder, CEO and chairperson of the Aashwasan organization. Anyway, welcome to the show. And welcome to Malaysia. I hear you've been here for about 3 weeks already.
I have.
And this is not your first trip.
No. I've been here since 2005 visiting.
All right, numerous times.
Many times.
Thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed it so much that you're constantly coming back.
I have to. It's home to me now.
It is it?
It is.
Okay, first of all, let's talk a little about the organization Aashwasan and how you set it up. How did it all start, and what is it about?
Well, like you mentioned in the segment, that it's a spiritual science organization. So way back in 2005, it was founded formally, and now it's a global company. And why is it spiritual sciences? Because we are talking about a science lost in the past, and it's a science that talks about human mechanism, and it also talks about the cause and effect. So technically, it's applicable in all areas of life, whether you're talking about health, diseases, you talk about the development of a person. So basically, it's a science that it's trying to bring out the lost sciences of the past. And something that's come by birth is obviously something that you need to give away. It's come with a reason. Yes. You go with the flow, and so Aashwasan has just been a stepping stone for me. Every page written to me by birth, I'm just opening, reading, and giving it away as it comes.
And when you talk about spiritual healing and something like that, there's something that you have had quite innate. I was reading your profile, and it's actually quite an interesting profile. Since birth, that you have had a certain ability, let's just say. We're all familiar with aura reading, aura healing, Reiki, things like that. And you have the ability, or you can see people's auras.
Yeah.
All right. So what color am I right now?
Well, Aashwasan basically clarifies this whole thing. We don't talk about colors anymore.
Oh, you don't, is
No,
it?
no.
So that's something of the past.
Yeah. Actually, auras are actually just lights, And it's like when you pass a light through a prism, you don't really see colors. It's a reflection. What you see as colors it's a reflection on the prism. It's not really, it's a colorless form of light that's called aura. And it's actually, it's a different kind of light in the sense that it depicts various connections of the, the mind and body. And it's very, very seamless and very, very accurate, let's say. So there is no room for you to interpret anything. You just sort of say as you see. And so by birth, what I would see is millions of rays of lights in a human body. And typically it would depict the human, mechanism of that person. And an infinite ray of light emitting from the heart, that is your soul. And it shows the entire connection of life form. It's like exactly how your brain captures the messages and how it responds back to different parts of your body. And so that's why I think I'm very high on the psychosomatic side of life, because I can clearly see the disconnect there.
All right. And there, when somebody is unwell or physically unhealthy, there is a disconnect. Yeah. It's not communicating. Oh, okay, let's talk a little bit about that. Our topic today is about how the physical and mental health, how they are connected. So what you're trying to say is that if I am not mentally unhealthy, but if I'm not taking care of my well-being, if I'm constantly stressed or I have a lot of pent-up anger, that there are some physical ailments or illnesses that I will eventually get later on in life?
That's true. What technically happens, as I see, is consider your soul as a memory hub. Okay, yeah, it's a memory hub. Okay. And basically, your brain and body is like a hardware that captures this message and interprets it back to you. So without your soul actually having the entire intelligence, you can't access the mechanism of your body. So what technically happens is the soul transmits the entire mechanism to the brain captures it and responds back to the body. And it's all a seamless process. And you know, because evolutionarily we've changed so much, there's such a disconnect in the way this response system happens right now.
Yes.
Yeah, so you could see about 3 to 5% of the brain capturing the message, and therefore you can imagine the manifestation of that on the body is technically brought down to almost like 93-95%.
Really?
So if you just imagine how scary it sounds to be able to live life just 5% versus that 95% of the experience missed out. You know, and that is pretty much what's happening inside your body.
So the reason why we are not connecting with this other 95% or hence achieving your full capacity is because of, you know, stresses and all the things that we are going through nowadays.
Yeah. The disconnect basically brings out mixed responses in the brain, and the brain is trying to find out what is it exactly. So whatever is possible, it just responds back to the body, and that's where the malfunction actually starts off. If you really see, for example, let's take an example of a child who's been brought up in a very angry environment, you know, had a very stressful childhood, keeps anger inside, there's a lot of resentment being built, and this child basically starts keeping it inside, becomes a little introvert. But what happens inside the body is that the lungs start getting affected because of that anger being incubated inside the body. And let's say about age 7, you start seeing the child getting breathing problems and stuff like that. By about 14, he would say, parents would, you know, take him to a doctor, and the doctor would say asthma. And then you figure out genetically there's no asthma. So what really happened? Nothing. It's just that the whole system is an energy system, and it goes down to the subatomic level of your body, which means that everything is a science within you, and everything impacts everything.
That's what they say that we're all actually made of the same thing.
Absolutely. And you know, it's so won't it be really trivial for us to just sort of say that, okay, whatever we see on the outside is that's it, you know, that's enough.
So, and we cure it on the superficial level.
Absolutely.
So that's what Ms. Rashmi is trying to say. So, okay, like you mentioned just then, that was a child who was brought up in a very stressful environment, full of anger. But nowadays, in this, you know, we're all, if you're urban dweller, urban or be it rural, we're all subjected to some level of stress. Even kids nowadays, all of them are extremely stressed with the, you know, everybody being overachievers and all that. So what can you say, what are your suggestions that, you know, that we can do at home to maintain or to just help start keeping ourselves, you know, well balanced?
Okay. Simple things which are very important for us to go with in life is to not fight ourselves.
Actually, and what do you mean by that, not fighting yourself?
Acceptance is very important. Expression is very important. You know, you condemn a child from expressing himself and say, don't be so immature. Or you thrust upon performing while a child has to be a child, for example. So basically, the development inside and outside are actually trying to connect together. And what responses you see on the outside are basically a response of what's happening inside.
Yes.
Now, you don't expect, you know, artificial stuff happening, you know, inside, because it's all been trained, it's intelligent, you don't control it. On a lifestyle side, I think very important for us to do at this point of time is preventive health. Let's say you get into a big corporate and you have high levels of stress. Very importantly, you have to know that these stress will lead to conditions like depression, addiction, and so on. So it's like a chain reaction. And then from there it becomes a psychiatric problem, and then it becomes a degenerative problem.
In its extreme cases. Okay, so the preventive health you would suggest, number one, accepting, communicating.
Very important. These are simple things, but in Aashwasan what we do is, it's a science, and what it really does is it's a certain frequency at which our brain, our body, and our soul communicates. And it's random, it's across the entire planet. The plants, the animals, everything living is in that frequency. And what it does is it tries to tune you to that part of your life where you are able to express exactly what's happening inside, and there is no disconnect between the brain and the body. Therefore, you see that the body functions are not getting corrupted. It's like your hardware. It gets corrupted, it's not going to work very long.
Yes.
You know, so you can keep formatting your laptop, but one day it's going to give way. So it's very important to first respect that we are intelligent beings. There is a natural phenomena that we need to respect. And so in Aashwasan, one of the key ways is healing that we do. It is not just some abstract thing, it is a scientific process. And normally what we do is we do a lot of studies where when we're in a big setup, let's say a corporate or on a school, we understand what is the level of stress that children are going through or adults are going through. We understand the parameters which affect people.
Yes.
And then based on that, we do individual analysis and then we render these services. And these services...
But the key point is understanding what is going on,
yes,
and therefore...
acceptance. And don't debate about the logical side and the emotional side anymore, because we have all sides.
Yes, we do. Unfortunately, Ms. Rashmi, we're actually running out of time, but you are in town and you actually held a series of workshops on also, you know, understanding and also, you know, yourself and how things work. Unfortunately, you are going back home on Wednesday. But if there's a website that somebody could go to or to get more information to find out when next you are coming down here to Malaysia?
I come very often, almost every 2 months, every 1 month, but we have Aashwasan office here in Malaysia. It's based in Puchong.
All right, so there you go. We've got the information on the screen right now. There's www.aashwasan.com. Phone numbers also 017-364-5625, 012-305-7539. You know, so hopefully we'll be seeing you down another 2 more months.
Absolutely.
There you go. Everybody who would like to go and attend a workshop, just find out all the information you need on the website. Thank you so much.
Thanks so
I'm
much.
so sorry to cut you short. There you go. We could go on forever about this topic, which is really awesome.
Absolutely.